Okay, let's see what's behind door number 1. Whoa. Looks pretty dark in here. Why don't we turn on the lights? Well, guys, here we have my vacuum showroom. This is basically all of the vacuums that are in my current collection. Yeah, they will change here and there. These are all the vacuums I have. I'll go ahead and show you all the ones I have. They all have a story for when I bought them. And we'll go ahead and start off with the first one here. Right here are the only 2 canisters I have. They're hidden above my fancy shirts. Right here we've got this Vax Model 121. Yes, for you UK guys watching, this is an American version. These are extremely rare. Even though I know how much this will go for as far as price-wise here in the United States, I can't bring myself to get rid of this. I inherited this from my grandmother after she passed away in January of this year. And this thing runs really good. I actually use it to clean my bare floors. It's hard to get parts for these, or at least, well, actually most of the parts you can get actually come imported all the way from the UK, since these were made in the United Kingdom. Right here we've got my, hidden behind all this hose and stuff, a Rainbow D3. This one I actually built piece by piece. None of the parts on this are original. Well, the water basin actually came with the motor unit. I got the wheel caddy separately. The electric hose with the floor nozzle actually also was a separate item. I do have the second hose for it, and all of its attachments right up in this white bin right here. The Hoover Turbo Scrub Spin Scrub 50 Steam Vac is not mine. This is actually my parents'. I'm actually watching this for them along with that Kenmore Elite right there, while they currently reside overseas right now. And they can't ship these because in order to run these vacuums over in foreign countries, you have to have a transformer, and you have to have one powerful enough to accept the 115 volt or the 115 volts that these things take. So I'd offer to watch over them. They're not part of my collection, but they currently reside with me. Right here we have the Hoover Z700, and it's in its Z fold right now. To get it out, just simply pull out, lean it forward, and then just pull it straight up. Of course, it has to lock back, and that's how it is stood up. Well, let's go ahead and fold it back, kind of like the way it looked like that. I actually got this off eBay, and it needed nothing done to it except a good clean out of the filter and the dust bin. I got this Hoover Breathe Easy from a Craigslist seller that was nearby. It's actually in very good condition. It came with everything. The manual, which is actually, I have a whole cluster of parts for different vacuums. Here it is. This is the manual it came with. Got here my Hoover Dimension. That was an eBay purchase. Didn't need to do that much to it, except I had to put a brand new fan impeller in it. The 20 blade fan upgrade. Unfortunately, Hoover no longer supplies that part, which I'm deeply furious about, because that was an awesome upgrade you could do to all of these old Elites. Well, except for that soft and light and that blue preferred right there, which already come with it because they have 12 amp motors. Because the 12 amp motors and later 8 amps in the commercial Elites use the 20 blade fan, while as the rest of the 7 Elites and some of the 6 amp Elites use the 7 blade. The 5 amp and the 6 amp Elites, like this Elite 350 and the Elite 2 right here, use actually a 9 blade fan, but that's another video. Anyway, the Hoover Legacy was another eBay purchase. I actually got this in hopes to replace it with this Dimension when I got it, because I originally planned to get a Dimension because I grew up with a Dimension Limited, which was the JCPenney exclusive. That was a darker green color that was a little like the Elite Supreme right here, at least in that green tone. The Soft and Light I actually got from where I used to work. This was sitting in the closet gathering dust, never had been worked. So I offered to take it home and clean it up, replace all the necessary parts, and now it works perfect. The Elite 2 and the Elite 350 were eBay purchases. Actually, I got the Elite 350 way before I got the Elite 2. This was the first Elite that I actually bought with my own money. And the second one that came along was this maroon Hoover Preferred. And the one thing I did end up having to do with this is the motor casing that was originally in this was so cracked up that when I actually took this thing apart, the casing practically fell apart in my hands, so that was no good. So I ended up getting a donor motor and just robbed the motor casing. This is the same 7.2 amp motor that this came with, and it is in fact the numbers matching motor. But for some reason, I don't know whether if it's the casing or not, or if it's the motor bearings that are slowly going out, but the motor seems off balance. When it's put into tool mode, the motor will kind of rattle around, so I don't know whether or not that's something I forgot to figure out, or I don't know what the issue is with that. The Elite Supreme was another eBay purchase, and this was the third Elite in my collection. The fourth one was this Elite 2, which I really love the style of the old Elites. It looks a lot more vintage compared to the mid-90s style. This one is early 90s, and you could tell it's an early 90s because the body is actually gray. And the newer style ones, the body is actually black. And up here I got this Wide Path Tempo right here. This was actually another Craigslist buy. I wanted this style of the Tempo Wide Path because it has the headlight and the bag check indicator. So it's a little bit more feature-esque than the newer style Wide Path Tempos that they sell. But unfortunately, this is the later model of the Wide Path Tempo, so it's under the TTI manufacturer, so it's got that later style loud screechy motor, which is not a huge deal. It just doesn't sound as good as the Maytag edition. This Hoover Anniversary Wind Tunnel Self-Propelled. This is the earlier model because it has the plastic trap door and the older style pet hair turbo brush. This was actually bought brand new by my parents back in 2012. That replaced an old Eureka the Boss Smart Vac, which I do have a video of. That one actually went up to their San Marcos River House. And this actually replaced as their home vacuum. They originally had plans to sell this, but never got around to doing it. So I offered to get it off of them. And I really love this thing. The only thing that really ticks me off about this, and I don't know whether it's a design flaw or cheap in their manufacture, but these are genuine belts in these, and they burn through and break very easily. And this is a genuine Hoover belt that drives the self-propelled drive, which people who know the operation of these self-propelled wind tunnels know. There's a main belt going to the motor pulley that drives the self-propelled, and the self-propelled motor drives another belt which drives the brush roll. So if that main belt snaps, you lose your self-propelled and your brush roll, which I think is kind of infuriating when you have to keep changing belts on this. But when it's working good, it's working good. This Royal Model 880 is another eBay purchase. I wanted one of these old Royals because my grandparents used to have one years ago. And, well, actually, theirs was a little bit newer because I remember the font on the outer bag being a little bit different. This one's from, like, the 70s. But this is an all-metal vacuum, which is the really thing I love. However, the motor is very small. It's only a 3-amp motor. But how big the fan impeller more than makes up for how small the motor is. Because this thing has pretty good airflow for a vacuum of its age. Right here, I got a Hoover power drive. Another eBay purchase. And when I got this, the self-propelled drive mechanism was completely busted off. The original one that came with this, the mountings were broken. I don't think the actual self-propelled casing was messed up. It's just the mounts, so I couldn't reuse that. So I bought a replacement self-propelled transmission that was actually supposed to be for a Concept 1. And because I did that conversion, the head no longer stands up off the ground. It just moves every which way it wants, even depending on the carpet height you set it at. It still adjusts. So I know that hasn't changed. And unfortunately, it's missing its hose, and there's no way to find a replacement for it. I've searched on eBay and still haven't found one. But one thing that really drives me nuts about these power drives is the shape of the hose connectors. You see it's kind of rounded off in the front, whereas the ones on like the lower end Elites, they're actually squared, with the exception of that round port in the back. You see the Elite Supreme is about the same. I honestly wish this one was squared out. That way you could take even the stretch hose off the Hoover Preferred and put it on it, and you'd have a good hose. And these did come with stretch hoses. The Hoover Concept 1, another eBay purchase. This is the non-self-propelled version. I mainly wanted a Concept 1 because I've been exposed around Elites mostly in my childhood, and I wanted to know what a Concept machine was like. So I got it. You know the story with the Kenmore Elite. I'm watching it for my parents. But the story of how they got this, they bought this brand new in probably about 2016, I want to say. And that was supposed to be the replacement of the anniversary Hoover Wind Tunnel self-propelled, because this one was a dual motor machine, because it has a separate motor to drive the brush roll, which Kenmore likes to call the direct drive. It's very amazing. It has aggressive agitation, amazing amounts of airflow for a bypass designed machine. But you can't beat the super high airflow of direct air vacuums like these Kirbys. And now we're getting into the Kirby territory. And right here I'll show you the Kirby Ultimate G Diamond Edition. This was actually my daily driver back when I used to live in my grandparents' house. But unfortunately I had to move out when finally my grandmother passed away. But anyway, this was my daily driver over there. I really wanted a Kirby because I've read so much great reviews about their performance. And the Ultimate G Diamond Edition is the ultimate collector's item for Kirby collectors because it's got the 2-speed motor right up here for low speed, and then your high speed, which even the newer Kirbys don't have, the Avaliers, Centurias, which I really wish they did. And right here, I've got the old Kirby G5. This is still a project vacuum. In fact, what I did to this when I got it was I had to put in a brand new self-propelled tech drive transmission. This is not the original. Unfortunately, I can't find any original G5 transmissions with the green dials, so I can only get ones for a G6. And yeah, it's also got the G6's black wheels too. I, for the heck of it, decided to do the front to match. Yeah, right here is a new fan that I'm gonna go ahead and put in. I do have plans to get a new motor for this one of these days because I think the motor on this is kind of on its last leg, because every time you use it for so long, you can kind of feel the power winding down. And I'm not too knowledgeable with rebuilding vacuum motors, and Kirby seem to be a little bit more complex in their build structure compared to even simple motors like in the Hoovers. So that's going to be upcoming. And the Kirby Heritage 2 was a very old school Kirby that I got, actually from a local pawn shop. The G5 was also a pawn shop purchase. And the Heritage 2, like I said, pawn shop purchase. I did have to get a new mini M-Tor for it, for the bag. I also got a new fill tube, and I got the newer style bag fill collar, so I can run the newer style. I think they're F-style bags that the newer Centurias and the Avalier uses. Oh yeah, here's the new style fill tube. I actually have one right in there. And I am also working on this old Kirby Tradition. This is the oldest Kirby in my collection. I wanted a Tradition because I wanted a vacuum that has a similar blue color scheme that almost mimics the Royal over here. This one's still a kind of a project to go because I'm trying to convert the bag system to take the newer style F-style bags, because I like running HEPA cloth bags in all my vacuums because they filter way better and they don't spew out dust as often, and they trap a whole lot more dust and allergens compared to paper bags. But anyway, I don't want to make this video any longer than it actually is. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the nice quick look at my big vacuum showroom. Hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.